The best thing you can do financially as a teenager right now is to invest your money. And in today's video, I'll be sharing with you guys the top 3 investments that I think you should be making as a teenager. What's up, boys and girls? My name is Brandon Nichols, and welcome back to yet another banger. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I post content focused on upgrading your life in every aspect possible as a teenager. In order to not miss out on any of the content that I post that could potentially be very helpful to you guys, make sure to subscribe and turn on your post notifications so not only that you don't miss out on these videos, but you do help the channel grow and reach more people who need to see the content. Alright guys, without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. So these investments we'll be talking about are investments such as stocks in crypto and things like that. These are investments that aren't like a car, something that you invest in, in order to get places. These are strictly for making you money or just appreciating over time. Assets are important to invest in, especially at a young age, because it sets your future life up for success. And it just gets you a good base plate of just good financial stability. These are assets that are easily accessible as a teenager. These aren't going to be anything like real estate. That's not if you're 18. If you're 18, then there's going to be videos that are basically going to be sharing with you guys investments that you should be making as an adult. But obviously this is a video for teenagers, so I'm going to be talking about assets that you can invest into as a teenager. But as I was going to say, the assets are going to go from least riskiest to the most riskiest. And honestly, if you were a teenager and your needs are being taken care of, then you really shouldn't have a risk factor at all. You should just be diversifying where your money is going into these assets. And if you're someone who does have to pay for the majority of their needs, I'm talking like food, other expenses like that, then you may want to consider just putting a lot of your money towards the safer investments and putting other money into side hustles and other things that will generate you more income first. So once you figure out your risk tolerance, take into consideration what assets you think would be the right decision to make. As teenagers, our options for investing are pretty limited, but with custodial accounts, it actually makes it a lot easier for us to invest into things like stocks and crypto. I've mentioned a brokerage called Stockpile before, which I personally use, and the video that I made on that will be up in this corner. Don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything, and it's not any affiliate link tied to that. I just really think Stockpile is a good brokerage to use as a teenager, and if you really want to, once you turn 18, you can then transfer your assets from Stockpile to an account from like Robinhood or Coinbase or etc. You can just take all of your assets and move them to a different brokerage. Through Stockpile though, I've grown an asset portfolio of low risk investments and high risk investments as well. Now, if you're confused on what a custodial account is, before I just breeze past that, basically what that means is a custodian, so either your parent or guardian, would have to set the account up for you. Then you can actually join the account and then make purchasing decisions under not really their name, but they are going to technically own the account with you. Then once you turn 18, all the funds are transferred into your own account. So you both will have an account. They just are going to help you make those not really decisions, but they're going to be the ones that okay everything and are going to have to make the purchasing themselves. However, with all that aside, let's get into the actual assets, with the least riskiest thing on this list being index funds. Index fund is basically like a basket of stocks that you can invest into to own a percentage of each of the companies in that basket. This, for an example, you can look at the S&P 500 and other stocks like that include, the S&P 500, for example, includes the top 500 most publicly traded stocks, and it allows you to grab each of those stocks, and this is just a really good one to hold on for the long term. It's by far the safest form of investing, as you're having 500 assets in one, and the S&P 500 especially is known to have around like an 8% annual interest, which basically means it increases 8% in value every single year on average. Compare this to a savings account, which like my savings account only gives me, I think, like 0.1% interest a year. If that, it might even be like a decimal point lower. So realistically, if you're trying to set yourself up for success, saving money really isn't going to be the best idea if you're not actually saving up for anything. If you're saving up for college, if you do want to go to college, then obviously that's a good idea. But if you're saving up money just to save up money, then, just to put it into investments is going to be by far the better financial choice for just holding your money, as it's going to increase a lot more than if it was just sitting in your savings account. If you're constantly putting money into your index fund or index funds, depending on how much you get, over a certain period of time, so let's say 10 years, you're putting in a lot of money, and you do this, maybe it's monthly, maybe it's yearly you put money in, or maybe it's even weekly, you're going to see your money start to compound, and that asset is going to grow exponentially. I only have money into the Vanguard 500 index fund, which is kind of like the S&P 500. Just ran through Vanguard, and honestly, I think that's what I'm just going to be investing into right now for, a lower risk stock, because I just want to invest into riskier stocks because I have that luxury of being able to invest into riskier stocks and crypto in order to see a potential higher gain. So I do have a decent bit of money into the Vanguard 500, but I do always just want to have that safe form of investing that I can always rely on. The next form of investing, which is kind of a step above index funds, are going to be individual stocks. Stocks basically like Tesla, Google, etc. The reason these stocks alone are riskier than obviously the S&P 500 and index funds like that is because you're investing into one company that could either do really bad, it could do really good, or it could just not really do that much at all and just, increase 4% a year. Maybe one year is 4%, the other year is 2%. They have a bad year, like negative 2%. And you may see stuff like that happening. But honestly, the major pros to investing into these individual stocks are simply that you can invest into what you actually would like to own. Now, obviously, you don't really want to be basing any of your investment choices on emotion, but rather than logic. But honestly, investments, like individual investments, are going to give you a higher reward. And if you're listening to good advice from other people, like I'm not going to give you specific stocks to invest into. I'm not that level of, I don't have that level of knowledge where I'm constantly watching the markets. I understand it. I'm not at that level yet, and I'm going to admit that. But I do know that individual stocks are going to give you a higher reward than the S&P 500 would. Maybe not in the long term, but in the short term, these stocks are definitely going to be worth it, especially if you get stuff during in a recession like we are going through right now. A lot of our assets you can pick up for like dirt cheap right now and then see a very good increase in the future. So don't worry right now about investing into, a potential really bad stock, because if you're doing your research and the majority of people are telling you that it's a good buy and has a really good future ahead of it, then it's probably going to be a smart decision to invest into that. But at the end of the day, you want to make your own good judgment. And if you see something going bad, don't freak out and pull out your money, because you could take a loss when in reality in the near future, you could see an increase in gain. If you are worried though about how this is, potentially risky, you don't want to put all of your money into one stock and then see it all drop down and you lose all of your money, there is a way around this, and this is simply just buying a bunch of individual stocks. So buying Tesla and Amazon and Google and all these different stocks, instead of just buying one and putting literally all of your money into that one stock, you're not going to see the best results from doing that. But diversifying your portfolio, you're going to minimize risk and maximize reward. But at the end of the day, with all of these investments, like I've been saying, do your research before you make any decision and make sure your decision is logical. The next and final investment, or the riskiest investment that you can make as a teenager right now that you should make, is investing into cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is very controversial in a sense where it's still relatively new to the world, so many people have mixed opinions on that, especially people who have lost dramatically like a lot of money. So there are going to be mixed reviews on crypto. Some people even think just the entirety of cryptocurrency is a scam, but in reality, it's just something new that some people just can't accept that it's becoming part of our world. So in order to, kind of just step into this world, I'm not saying invest into NFTs. I'm not saying invest into the metaverse. That's something I'm myself am not educated on. But with cryptocurrency, I do have to say it's a relatively safe investment to make. It's going to be a lot riskier than all the other assets, all the other traditional assets that were just mentioned. But with cryptocurrency, it allows you to, you kind of have a high risk, but the reward is insane. Like, there's been so many teenagers that have become millionaires, and not just teenagers, but lots of people have become millionaires just from investing into cryptocurrency and understanding the markets. Now, to invest in it, you don't necessarily have to understand the markets in order to actually do well in cryptocurrency. You just have to become educated, just like with stocks. And if you find a crypto that you're interested into, then just do some research on it, figure out what other people are saying about it, and then if it's a good decision, make the purchase and investment. But overall, with crypto, it's relatively new. There's lots of uncertainty around it. I do think it's very viable that if you have a good risk tolerance right now, like if you don't have that much needs to purchase, then I think cryptocurrency is a great buy, because you're not only diversifying your portfolio. You shouldn't just buy crypto, by the way. You should be adding your cryptocurrency with your stocks. And by the way, you can purchase crypto and all these other stocks through Stockpile. But by adding these all together, like I said before with individual stocks, you're diversifying your portfolio, which is continuing to maximize your reward and minimize your risk. But the only way to see growth with crypto is through making educated decisions and diversifying crypto assets. So don't buy one crypto like I mentioned with Tesla and just build up on that one asset, because that's a lot riskier to do. So build up a strong, diverse portfolio of cryptocurrency. Overall, all of these assets are great assets that you should be making in order to make your future a lot less stressful and give your future family a foundation that they can live on. The biggest takeaway that you should actually take from this is to maximize your reward by minimizing your risk, by investing into a diverse portfolio. Start building a diverse portfolio. And one thing I didn't mention with individual stocks is buy assets that give you a dividend. Basically, something that pays you a certain amount of what you have invested into. It's usually quarterly, and then keep on investing your dividends into that company. And that is when you'll see compounding's magic. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. If you did like it, make sure to leave a like and then comment what you'd like to see next, or just any questions you may have for me. Like I've said in every single video, I am constantly working on building a community of high-value teenagers that not only work on building themselves up, but building each other up as well. Because in order to survive, you have to have a group of like-minded men that are going to help you get to the goals that you want to get to. All right, guys, without further ado, I will see you guys in the next video. As always, peace.